MMA Locker Room here with Pick Dawgz, and we're about to go over this fight night card headlined by Israel Adesanya taking on Imavov, headlined in Saudi Arabia, going down Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Wake up early so we can get this money. Now look, if you guys don't know, if you're new to the show, I go over every single fight, give you guys my picks, my predictions, and then at the end of the video, I give you guys a parlay to get paid. And hey, how'd you guys do last event, man? UFC 311 was good, right? I mean, all the fights was looking good. The main event got switched around, but the co-main, but Islam did beat Marcano, and hey, Marab pulled the upset against Nurmagomedov, and we had some good spots. We didn't hit every single pick on the card. I mean, to be honest with you guys, I think we ended up 500 on the night on our predictions, but the bets went good. The only one that we really lost was Jamal Hill. We did have a play on Jamal Hill, but we had the Grant Dawson over 2.5. We had De Ritter in that spot, and then who else was it? I forget, man. But hey, man, it ain't about how we did last event, because this week I'm trying to go perfect. Okay, so this is what I need you guys to do. Put down in the comments below who you guys think's gonna win the main event between Israel Adesanya and Imavov. Israel Adesanya is back headlining fight night cards, folks, so we got something to look forward to. We usually see fighters like this on big pay-per-view events, but since they're in Saudi Arabia, they want some big names, okay? So, and one thing we got to keep in mind when we're going to be capping this card, yes, the fan favorites are going to be going for certain fighters on this card, so they're going to be fighting 2 people, damn near 3 people, the person in the cage, the referee, and the fans, so keep that in mind. Alright, man, let's go ahead and get it started on the first fight of the night, okay? We're going to be looking at Hamdi Alamdul. He's taking on Jamal Pogz in this spot. Alright, let's get down to it, alright? The type of matchup that we got in here is kind of like a wrestler versus a striker. And the wrestler and the grappler is going to be Hamdi. The striker is going to be Jamal Pogz. Jamal Pogz, he likes to pop a jab out there, doesn't really follow up with hard punches. But this is the thing about Jamal Pogz. If you ask me, he's fighting at heavyweight and he should really be a light heavyweight, but he just doesn't want to take that time to cut that weight. I think he's going to be undersized in this fight, okay? Jamal Pogz is 3-1 in the UFC, but all of the guys that he beat, they're not nobody that I think is even staying around in the UFC anymore, okay? And the guy that he did lose to, it's kind of reminded me of this fighter in this one. He lost to McParkin, and McParkin was able to get the wrestlers and control him more and out throughout the fight. That's what Hamdi Alamdul is going to be doing in this one. All right, let's talk about the attributes of these fighters, okay? 11-4 record. You got the fight experience of Jamal Pogz. Hamdi, he's only 5-0, and he's coming off a 2-year layoff suspension where he got caught with using steroids. Man, I don't know why I'm trying to be nice about it, but in that fight before that, he did come to the UFC and beat Dontel Mays as an underdog. We had him in that spot. He's an Egyptian fighter that can go to the wrestling. He's an Egyptian Olympic wrestler at that. Now look. Let's talk about the team in the camp. Jamal Pogz fights out here kind of in the local scene out of Victorville, California. Not a real gym that he's been around. And the same thing could be said about Hamdi. So when it comes to the teams in the gym, I think they both cancel each other out. Now let's talk about the odds. The odds is pretty much a pick 'em on this fight. And to be honest, the keys to victory for Jamal Pogz would be able to stuff the takedowns, keep it on the feet, and lead up with volume. And the keys to victory for Hamdi Alamdul would be to do the same thing that he did to his last opponent, Dontel Mays. I do like Hamdi in this spot. I'm going to be taking him in this spot. Next fight taking place, we got Bocek taking on Lucas Alexander. All right, so this matchup, when you got a high talented striker in Lucas Alexander, okay? His last fight, he was coming off of a knockout against an opponent to where he was a big favorite in a -500. And Bocek, he's making his UFC debut, coming from the Dana White Contender Series. It's his second time getting on there, okay? He won by, split decision in a tough fight on that fight. All right, so when we look at this fight right here, the attributes of both these fighters, I like Lucas Alexander because he is going to have the size and reach advantage in here. I do like the way that he puts together combos. I do think that he can go down to the wrestling. The lack of defense from Bocek, how he blocks punches just with his face, I don't think that's going to be a good one in here. And when it comes to the team in the camp, I gotta go with Lucas Alexander. He's out there training with real fighters at Fusion XL. Phil Rowe, Mike Davis, Charles Johnson, and the list goes on. A plethora of fighters, okay? And it seems like they got that tight community. In here, the odds is pretty much a pick 'em, and then you had people betting on Bodon. He went up to a -115. You could get a guy, Lucas Alexander, out of +105. Now, I think Lucas Alexander is the rightful favorite at a -125. And here, the keys to victory in here, I gotta go with Lucas Alexander. I think that he can win just by kind of keeping this on the feet. I liked his last fight. I did see him fight live against Steven Peterson. And man, he was outstriking his opponent by like 3 to 4 numbers in there. So give me Lucas Alexander in a close fight. And the price tag on it, I would hop on it now before it gets a little higher, okay? I'm going to give you guys some time right now, okay? Because I'm about to make that bet right now because I think that line's going to change. Give me one moment. All right, man. Sometimes you got to do that. You know, you never know if the line's going to change. Next fight. Let's keep it going, man. We got Jasmine Jurdovic taking on Myra Brandon Silva in here. All right, man. This matchup right here, you got a talented jiu-jitsu fighter and Myra Brandon Silva who can go out there and finish anybody, man. She pulls submissions from every single angle, it seems like. And Jasmine Jurdovic, her type of fighting style, man, she's just a dog. She's overall just good. I mean, her striking is there. She can mix in the wrestling. She has a great size advantage, a great reach advantage in this division. Let's talk about this division because Myra Brandon Silva is going to be stepping into this division now in bantamweight after, actually, no, I'm sorry. She's stepping into this weight class now at 125, and she's going to try her luck because she already had the chance to fight for the belt against Raquel Pennington in a close fight, and she gassed out. And then before that, she was coming off another loss against Macy Chase Arn in a fight to where she was winning, and then she just got bad cut. So pretty much it seems like her title run is done at that weight class. So she's trying it down here. The odds on here, you got a -2 to 1 favorite in Jasmine Jurdovic, okay? Man. I don't know, man. I don't know about those odds getting behind them at that price tag. That's nothing that I'm just going to the window with, screaming to. Let's talk about the team in the camp. Jasmine Jurdovic, she trains over there with Team Niagara, top team. And they got some good fighters over there. But I got to give the advantage to Myra Brandon Silva training at American Top Team. She has some of the more dynamic fighters over there to train with and brush shoulders with every single day. So in the training camp, in the gym sessions, got to be looking at Myra Brandon Silva to improve a little bit in there. And when we're talking about the odds, man, like I said, at that -2 to 1 price tag, knowing how good and how explosive Myra Brandon Silva is, man, she's a dangerous fighter for anybody. So I can't just say, yeah, go ahead and lay that -220 and parlay that with something. If you ask me, I think the dog is live in there. But the overall better fighter for this division is going to be Jasmine. And I do think she can do enough to just keep it on the feet and stay out of range and just jab her up and strike and keep this on feet for at least 2 rounds, right? And maybe win by decision. So give me Jasmine Jurdovic to win by decision. But for the bettors out there, there's some live dogs on here. So, you might hear a pick, and then you might hear, hey, man, if you guys are looking for a live dog, I think Myra Brandon Silva is a live dog, and people might be looking past her, man, a little bit in this spot. All right, next fight. We got Terrence McKinney, and he's taking on Damir Hadzovic. All right, this type of matchup, it's just going to be a banger. Why? Because that's what Terrence McKinney does. He goes out there, he either finishes you or he gets finished. Out of all of his fights, none went the distance. Out of all of his finishes, pretty much 90% of them came in the first round. So in this one, I got to just be going with the under. This fight right here, the example that I could maybe use could be like, when Damir Hadzovic fought Mark Casey. Mark Casey was able to get him down and just keep him down on the ground. But Terrence McKinney doesn't wrestle. With that being said, let's talk about the attributes. I do think Terrence McKinney's going to have the height and speed advantage in here. The way faster fighter, way more powerful fighter. Damir Hadzovic's coming off a 2.5-year layoff. He's damn near about 38 or 39 right now. I think he's just getting fed to the wolves in here. The team in the camp and the record, I got to go with Terrence McKinney, man. I mean, even just the opponents that he has wins over before he came to the UFC is better than the people that Damir Hadzovic beat in the UFC. The team in the camp, I heard that Terrence McKinney moved out to Florida now and is training with the new gym out there, so This is the thing, though. He's kind of like a guy that's been in one team, one camp, one management team, moved around. I'm not mad at it. You know, I do think you need to take these steps when you're earlier on in your career like this. But Terrence McKinney is a fighter where you can't really trust at that minus 450. I do think he gets it done right here. The pick is going to be Terrence McKinney. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins in the first round. Let's give him the prediction. First round knockout coming. Terrence McKinney. Bet it, book it. All right, man. Next fight taking place, man. We got a big boys on the fight, man. We got Shamil Gaziev, 13-1, taking on Thomas Peterson, 9-2. All right, this type of matchup right here, wrestler, grappler, and Thomas Peterson. An overall striker in Shamil Gaziev, man. But in this one, the example of fights that I could kind of relate this to, and these guys' past experience, Thomas Peterson maybe have fought somebody like Shamil Gaziev, but Gaziev hasn't fought complete just wrestlers that's just going to go for the takedowns relentless, and that's their game plan, and that's what they're actually going to do. All right, now let's talk about the attributes of both these fighters. You got one fighter that's going to be towering over him. That's Shamil Gaziev. He's going to have the height and size advantage in there. He's a big boy, man. He's going to have that reach advantage too. And he's an explosive fighter in that first round. Okay. Thomas Peterson, though, short, you know, compact fighter. But that's going to make him do what he needs to do. And that's going to be trying to get in on those hips, get in for takedowns in here. All right, now when we talk about the team in the camp, both these guys ain't training with camps that's too highly credited that I know about. Thomas Peterson trains with like Spartan MMA. I don't even know who Gaziev trains with. But this is where the crowd comes in. Saudi Arabia is probably going to want to see Shamil Gaziev win. And the books and the odd makers do too. That's why he's a minus 3-1 favorite on the books, okay? Being honest with you. He should probably win, but I cannot bet him at a minus 3-1 favorite. His last fight out, he lost to Jose Rosenstruck in a fight to where he didn't even throw over 30 significant strikes in a 5-minute fight. I mean, a 5-round fight. And he lost as a favorite in there. So there's no way I can get back on the money train and say, oh yeah, man, this is the thing. On this fight card, you guys are going to probably see minus 3-1 favorites and think parlay both of them and, you know, get a decent price tag or parlay 3 and you're okay. It might win, but man, it's so iffy on here, and these ain't the fighters I trust at that minus 3-1 price tag. The pick is gonna be, oh man, I can see Thomas Peterson winning, man. I really can. I could see him getting these takedowns, and I could see Shamil Gaziev just gassing out a little bit, man. I think this is one where the dog is live, man. And at those odds, I'm playing the dog. Give me Thomas Peterson for the upset in Saudi Arabia, man. I know. Nobody else thinks it, but it's okay, man. It's just a gambling show, okay? Next fight taking place, we got Muhammad Naimov taking on Kayan Ofti. In this one, I like Muhammad Naimov. He's 11-3. He's going to have the crowd behind him, okay? He's one of those fighters that Saudi Arabia fans are waiting to see, okay? And when we talk about the matchup, he's good overall at this weight class at featherweight, okay? He can mix in the striking, he can mix in the grappling, and he's explosive as well. Some fights that he's down, he finishes opponents, and then, you know, gets his hand raised. Now, Khan, he's coming off of a loss against Santos in a fight that was trying to get them into the UFC for the Dana White for the Ultimate Fighter. I remember in there, I seen him from the Ultimate Fighter. Nobody was really good besides Santos. I remember in this season. I'm not too impressed with him. And when we talk about the odds, he's a minus 3-1 favorite, Naimov. I do think that's something that I would parlay with. So when I said there's certain fighters I wouldn't touch at that price tag, this is one. His path to victory is just go out there and, you know, fight the way that he fights. I don't think that Lofty is going to have anything to where he'll be better at him at. I don't think he's better at him grappling. I don't think he's better at him striking. I don't think he has the upside in the finish ability. And the cardio, too. So give me Muhammad Naimov to win. And I think he wins inside the distance in this one, all right? All right, man. Next fight taking place. We got a good one. Fares Ziam taking on Mike Davis in this one, all right? Now, this fight, it's going to be a good one because both these fighters, I think, they should be moving up in the rankings. And it's just sad that they got to fight each other at this fight point in their career because one of these guys are going to go back and one of these guys is going to keep going forward. All right, now let's talk about it, all right? Mike Davis is already out in Saudi Arabia. He flew out there a little bit early, got acclimated to the weather and stuff, okay? In this one, though, the teams and the camps, Man, they're both training with good teams and camps, you know. Mike Davis is coming from Fusion XL out there training with them boys like I mentioned earlier. And then you got Ziam. I think he's coming from Fortis MMA. So I think both those guys got good training partners and good rounds to get in. Now, let's talk about the odds. Mike Davis opened up at a minus 2 to 1 favorite. Came all the way down to a minus 130, sitting around that minus 150. And here, the size and the reach advantage, got to go with Ziam, okay? He's going to be the taller fighter. But this is the thing. Mike Davis is going to be the faster fighter, the more powerful fighter, and the guy throwing more volume in here. And he's the guy that can do two things. He can mix in those takedowns. Ziam has taken down some of his opponents, but he doesn't know what to do when he's on top of them. And here, I think Mike Davis' path to victory is taking him down and getting that submission. He trains out there with some, good people in jiu-jitsu, so let's go ahead and level up that brown belt and get the win by sub. I will be honest with you guys. I think it's a good fight, and I think the price is right on either of these fighters right here. At that dog price at plus 200, yeah, you guys did your job with that one. And I'll be honest with you, man. I think this is a close fight. I like Mike Davis in this spot, though, man. I think he's going to go out there and win by sub and, go ahead and get the job done and get his hand raised. All right, next fight taking place. We got another good one, man. But before we do that, if you guys want to see exactly what we're betting on, our premium picks and everything like that, all you need to do is head on over to pickdawgz.com, hit the premium picks tab, look up your favorite capper, and that's how we get it started over here, okay? Let's put more money in your pockets for profits. All right, next fight taking place. We got Saeed Nurmagomedov, 18-3, taking on Vinicius Oliveira, a.k.a. Lockdog, 21-3. This type of matchup is gonna be a banger. Potential fight of the night. You might hear that twice or 3 times now after this. Okay. Now in this fight, Saeed Nurmagomedov is like a minus 170 on the books. I think it's a little bit warranted just because it seems like he's been able to get the job done in multiple ways out in his fights. Win by submission, win by decision. But Vinicius Oliveira is one of those guys that you got to look at as a dog, man. He's been explosive so far in the UFC. 3-0 he has, and he's been putting on great performances in here. Saeed Nurmagomedov is going to be the more complete fighter, I think. But if you're asking me in here, the path to victory for Saeed Nurmagomedov would be to kind of take him down and win by submission. Vinicius Oliveira has been knocked out multiple times in fights and he's been finished. But then again, he has that finish ability also. I do think this one probably gets the over. So I would be looking at maybe, looking at fight to go the decision in here. In here, though, just being honest, man, I like the dog in here, man. Right when this fight got announced, man, and the way that he's been putting on performances and stuff, I'll take a shot with the dog in here. He's gonna be fighting 3 people. Okay, Nurmagomedov. He's gonna have the Saudi Arabia crowd going for him and stuff. He's gonna have maybe the referees on his side if it goes to a close decision. Of course. So we are up against that. But in here, man, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. I like everything that the Lock Dog's been doing in the UFC. And the way that he strikes, the way that he fights is something that captivate my eyes. Let's go ahead and get the win in this one. I'm on the dog. Next fight taking place, man. We got Sergey Pavlovich taking on Jarzino Rozenstruik in here. And this fight is going to be a striker versus striker. Big boy's going to be throwing in here, okay? Now, when you look at it, the resemblance and what you can relate this to will be Sergey Pavlovich taking on, who was it? Tom Aspinall. Them dudes fought, and it was like, hey, whoever wins this is going to be crowned, interim title. And Tom Aspinall smoked him real quick, in the first round. The reason why I say that is because you had 2 talented strikers. Tom Aspinall is way beyond Jarzino Rozenstruik as a striker, but Jarzino Rozenstruik is a talented kickboxer who has power in his hands. So, man, you got a good one in here. Now let's talk about the size advantage. Sergey Pavlovich is going to have him on the height advantage in here. But if you ask me, he's also going to have him on the speed advantage in here. The power, I think that's going to be in both these guys. Both these guys have power in their hands. And if you connect, I think it's going to be equal in here. All right. Now, when we talk about the team in the camp, both these guys train at American Top Team. They both got good training partners and good coaches in there. Now, we talk about the odds. Pavlovich is a big favorite in there. And when you're fighting a talented heavyweight like Jarzino Rozenstruik, who could put anybody lights out, I was there at the fight live, seen him knock out Chris Duncan. That was a thing to see. I don't like parlaying big favorites like this, okay? If it was a straight play, minus 120, minus 140, those are different talks, okay? Those are different conversations that you could do it. But on here, man, It's gonna be a good one, man. Pavlich is coming off a loss against Volkov in his last fight, going the decision. Rosenstruck is coming off a win in his last fight against Shamil Gazov in here. Man, give me Jazeera Rosenstruck, man. I like the dog money in here. Both these guys are explosive. The only thing that I worry about is Jazeera Rosenstruck. He waits to throw and counters. And if you got Pavlich coming at you like that in the first round, you can't wait. You just got to come out there and throw. So I'm gonna go ahead and trust Jazeera Rosenstruck to get it done in this one. Give me the dog to get it done. All right, next fight taking place, man. I like those odds, too. We got Sher Magomedov, a.k.a. the One-Eyed Pirate, 15-0, taking on Michael Venom Page, 22-3. Michael Venom Page is stepping up in the middleweight division just to take this fight. The reason why? Because it's the fight of the night, striker versus striker. This is what people want when they want to see mixed martial arts. When you guys want to see good fights and people doing some crazy kicks and good strikes, this is the fight to watch. Now, betting on it, let's take that out the window for a minute. Every single fight, you're not going to be able to bet on and get the best read. I want you guys to just watch this fight with me. We got Sher Magomedov opened up a -2-1 favorite, down to like a -170 out there. He's an explosive striker, man. One of the more talented, Muay Thai fighters out here. He comes out there, rips his, used to wrap his hands and everything. The whole style, right? His last fight, he won by a double spinning back fist against Marm Petrosian. Guys, look it up. Sher Magomedov, talented striker, but in some of these fights that he's won, he's actually losing in until he turns it around in here. He fights with one eye, folks. One eye. Like literally, all right? And he's winning. But he can only fight in Saudi Arabia and out there. It seems like he doesn't have a visa. So, Michael Venom Page, talented striker too as well. He's 1-1 in the UFC. Coming from the Bellator promotion in there. He has an awkward stance, an awkward fighting style. It's hard for anybody to hit him and beat him. I think this fight could go any way, 50-50, folks. I think this dog is live, Michael Venom Page. I really do. Just because of the way that he fights, it's awkward for anybody to beat him, to get a good read. You know, especially if you're not like a wrestler or a grappler. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Venom Page mixes in the takedowns in this fight, because Sher Magomedov definitely struggles with that. When he fought Bruno Silva took him down and he couldn't get up and he almost lost. All right, so this is going to be a good fight. Sit back and enjoy and watch, okay? It's all said and done, though. I've been making money with Sher Magomedov, and I think he's top tier. I think he can still do what he needs to win by decision, okay? All that, because I'm trying to tell y'all, man, I like both these fighters in there. I think there's value on the dog. But I'm going with Sher Magomedov, man. I've been making money with him straight up, and I still do think that he can put together enough strikes to win over the crowd and do some stuff that's going to have everybody cheering for him at the same time, okay? Play fight goes the distance and be safe. Sit back and watch and enjoy the co-main event. Main event time! Israel Adesanya taking on Nasruddin Imavov, man. Big style bender. Israel Adesanya is back and he's headlining this card, okay? His last fight out, he fought Dricus Du Plessis, and to me, that was the best fight of last year. He was up all rounds, and then he just got submitted in the 4th round, okay? Nasruddin Imavov, let's talk about him. He's been on a warpath, win after win after win after win, putting together nice wins over Jared Cannonier and other fighters that I just can't even come to my name right now. But I like him, and I like the way that he strikes. I like the way that he's been implementing some of the takedowns in his fights. But when we talk about the attributes, Israel Adesanya is going to have the reach advantage in there. He's going to have the speed advantage on here. He's going to have the levels in here, the fight resume, the credentials. We're talking about a former 2-time champion. And we're talking about one of the baddest guys in the division that cleared out the whole division. When nobody wanted to fight these guys, he did. He said, give me Yoel Romero. Beat him. Give me Paulo Costa. Beat him. Everybody in there. I mean, he cleared out the whole division. Derek Brunson, Robert Whittaker twice, Marvin Vettori. I mean, anybody who they gave him to, he was beaten. Until he got Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira came in and, he leveled up on him. Then Israel Adesanya got the win back. Talk about this fight, man. I think the odds are right on both fighters, man. I like it on Israel Adesanya being this low at a -160. Let's talk about the camp, City Kickboxing. You know what Israel Adesanya is over there doing, man. And I think this is going to be one of those fights to where he's going to be looking good and dicing them up and cutting them up specifically, okay? I think he's going to kind of look like the old Israel Adesanya to where it's going to look like a dominant win. And, maybe Nasruddin Imavov just can't even come close to him. And Israel Adesanya is doing that old come here stuff. You know what I mean? That type of stuff. But it's good money on both sides, okay? Nasruddin Imavov is in his prime right now, okay? I like fight to go the distance in here as well. And I do like style bender to get it done. So give me the style bender in this one. All right, man. Parlay time, man. Let me give you guys a 2-leg parlay to get you paid, all right? We're going to be taking Nasruddin Imavov. Yeah, that's definitely going to be 1 leg for sure. And then in the next one, man, at these odds, you can't parlay that. Man, I almost said Terrence McKinney. But Terrence McKinney's going to win, bro. Terrence McKinney's going to win. All right, I'm convinced. Give me Terrence McKinney and Nasruddin Imavov. All right, man. That's my 2-leg parlay to get you paid. Millz Young Ear, part of Pick Dawgz. MMA Locker Room. If you guys want to see some of my exclusive content, I got an interview out with Mike Davis, who's fighting on this card. Just type it in on the YouTube. MMA Locker Room interviews Mike Davis. And if you guys want more exclusive picks, head on over to pickdawgz.com. Hit the premium picks tab. See you guys next time next week. Millz Young here. UFC bet with me.